Well, good afternoon. Once again, it's on a Friday at 6:30 in the p.m. and I am your host, U.S. Representative Danny K Davis, for the next 25 minutes of Hotline 21, an interactive television opportunity where people, you, the people, are in control. And that is because you can chime in, ask any question, make any comment, give any answer, ask for any answer. You can go in, do anything that you want to do. Well, I am fortunate to once again have an opportunity to give a little update on what's happening nationally in our country. And I'm also pleased to have a guest with me this afternoon or this evening, Mr. Willy Burton. And Mr. Burton is the outreach coordinator or activity developer, engagement facilitator for the 7th Congressional District Democratic Office. I am a Democrat, and I make no bones about it. But I don't talk partisan politics here. As a matter of fact, I try to just give you a feeling. Lots of people across America are filled with anxiety. There are people who are anxious, bewildered, upset, and they are in disagreement with how the country right now is being run by our new president, his advisors. But the real deal, we always say that elections have consequences. And if you want to determine the direction of your neighborhood, the direction of your country, the direction of your state, you got to be engaged all the way up front. You try to do your best to get people where you want them to be, who think the most like you. Nobody is going to think the same way all the time, and nobody's going to agree all the time. So you may not find perfection, just like the Constitution is a document. And while it offered a lot of things in our country, it generated the idea that we can move towards perfection, that perfect union that we're looking for is not here. It's like a dish that you gotta put it together and do a lot of different things. You gotta massage it. You gotta put some ingredients in. You gotta take some ingredients out. So you gotta do everything that you can do to try and make that dish what you want it to be, but you know it's in your hands, and you will determine how it comes out, whether it's tasty, whether it's good. It's in our hands to determine what our country is going to be. Well, we have a budget. It's not the budget that I would want. As a matter of fact, I voted against it. When it was in the House, I, along with all of the Democrats, may have been one person or so, maybe, but the Democrats in the House have been as unified almost as you can be. I mean, we have different needs, we talk differently, but we've been sticking together under the leadership of Hakeem Jeffries. We've got a great leadership team. everybody who want to have input into decisions that are made have the opportunity to do that. I sit on the Ways and Means Committee, and when we caucus, everybody on the committee can make their input. And the chairman, we don't have a chairman, the ranking member, Mr. Neal will say, we're going to talk about so and so and so. Who want to weigh in? And every person who want to weigh in say I think we ought to be for this. Well, I don't know. I think we ought to be against this. Well, I think we ought to be for it, but with certain caveats. Everybody gets an opportunity to have their say. If I'm agreeing with whatever's going on, sometimes I don't say a word because I'm in agreement. But I probably always got some thoughts and ideas that are a little different than other members of the group. So we come here on a Friday to say what's going on. The Senate, of course, have now had their shot. I'm sure they done, and I'm sure it's over, and all of that. But we have a spending plan that I vehemently disagree with. But, we lost the election, so we lost the opportunity to make the decision about what we're going to spend and what we're going to have. The Republicans won the election, so they get heads up on deciding and determining. And so there are two kind of people in the world. I say there are those who make decisions, and then there are those who get decided for. And so in order to be the ones making the decisions, if you remember things, I believe in what's called the Christian faith. And so I go to church, we pray, and we pray the Lord's Prayer. But if you notice in the Lord's Prayer, it says, give us the power. Power comes before the glory. And so in order to experience the glory, you got to first have the power. And so if you get the power, then you can have the glory. And even in the Lord's Prayer, if you notice, power comes before the glory. So, Mr. Burton, let me ask you, what is your assessment of the state of things as you see them in the United States of America right now?
Well, there's definitely an uncertainty. A lot of individuals feel they're in uncharted territory, and they feel that some of the things that our ancestors fought for, it looks like every other week they're slowly being taken away. I hear a lot of people talk about the Civil Rights Act and how there was a shield that kind of protected us in relation to some of the progresses that we have made. And a lot of people are very clear that at this point, that shield is being nicked at and tapped at. And those rights that we fought so valiantly for are eroding us. We unfortunately are seeing cuts, different agencies and
Now, when you say we, who you're talking about?
Well, I'm talking about people in the churches that I go to. When I go to church, that's the murmur that you hear before church gets started. People are talking about that before they even hear the sermon. When I'm at the barber shops, when I'm at the stores, when I'm talking to people on the streets, on the corners, They know what's going on because quite a lot of people are really in tune to what's going on because they're looking at the news. They're looking at their what's being streamed to them online and on Facebook. So a lot of people are aware. They're nervous, but we definitely try to remind them that all is not lost. You just have to make sure that you be a part of the process and make sure you get your facts right. Make sure you know exactly what's going on because there's so many mixed messages out here. So there's a deep, deep concern among our constituents in the church, in the schools, and in the neighborhood that I frequent on a regular basis.
So all of these different venues and places, for example, when we leave here now, we're going to actually go to an event, and the people will be talking there. They'll be expressing themselves, and we'll probably get a chance to say something to them as well. I noticed that they're going to give me an award, but that's not why I'm going. I'm going because I get an opportunity to say something to them. And if I say something, it's going to be, brother, you better beware.
That's right.
Lloyd Jordan used to sing a song, say you better beware. Or I'm going to tell them that the drums are rumbling and you need to heed the rumble of the not too distant drum. So we got a lot of things on target. I know that we've got a town hall meeting coming up in the North Lawndale community on Sunday the 23rd.
Exactly.
And the idea is to have women leadership discuss the state of affairs, what's going on. So all of the people who live over in the area near Character Centenary AME Church, which is at 15th and Homan, come on out at 3 o'clock next Sunday and be with us. We also have, as a matter of fact, I'm next Saturday, tomorrow is Saturday, I'm going to go to a great event in North Lawndale, and it's going to be the North Lawndale Eagles 35th Annual Awards Banquet. And this is just a wonderful event that Coach and all those folks have put together. Little boys who learn how to play football, but their parents will bring them, and their parents are nurtured at the same time that the boys are nurtured. And so there are events going on. Those events are multifaceted. Yeah, we will commend and congratulate them, but we'll also teach the children at the same time. They learn discipline. They learn creativity. They learn teamwork. They learn how to do things together. So make sure that you access some of these things. There are other things going on, Willie, that you may be aware of.
Yeah. Also, in addition to that, April the 4th, unfortunately, that was the day that Martin Luther King was assassinated. But there's going to be a march in the North Lawndale community where everybody can kind of celebrate the fact that his legacy still lives, even though that occurrence did happen. And we want everybody to come out. We're going to actually start at Deliverance True Vine, True of Life, on 3837 West Harrison. That's where the people are going to gather, and we would hope that everybody could come out and, you know, you can make a sign And with that sign, you can express the issue of your concern. And we know right now, when we look at the state of the nation, there are many, many issues. And we're going to march from that location to Stone Temple, which is located 3622 West Douglas Boulevard. We're going to meet up at Divine, at 9:30 that morning. If you want more information, we can make sure that you can contact us at 773-531-2031. But we need everybody to come out. Like I said, when we look at the Civil Rights Act of 1964, Martin Luther King's hand was all in that. And we, being his living legacy, we want to show that the march continue because we have so much to continually fight for.
Well, Divine Tree of Life, that's Reverend Johnny Dodd's church. Johnny V. Dodd, D-O-D-D, the greatest hymn singer still alive. As a matter of fact, I could listen to Reverend Johnny Dodd sing hymns all day long. He got any number of them. He does one, says it's getting late in the evening and the sun is almost down. And he can bellow that out and it's like the walls will shake. He says, I'm going to put all of my business in my master's hand. So Reverend Johnny V. Dodd. And then when we get to Stone Temple was one of the churches that Dr. King spoke at. Reverend J.N. Stone was one of the ministers who was courageous enough to have Dr. King come and speak at his church. As a matter of fact, he and Reverend Shelvin Hall, whose church used to be on the boulevard, they moved over to Laramie Street and built the African hut. So, yeah, we will be marching, we will be demonstrating, we will be congratulating, we will be using every venue that we can possibly use to help people understand that we, that is, we the people, right. As a matter of fact, we're going to be with Governor Pritzker on Monday morning. We've got a press conference with a group of veterans and people who run veteran programs to talk about the impact of this budget that we're going to be spending money on for the next several months until the end of September. But they cut services, and rather than increasing services, especially for veterans, men and women who've given the last measure of devotion to be the guardians and protectors of our liberty, the guardians and protectors of our freedoms, the guardians and protectors of our right to exist and to be. So you wouldn't want to cut anything out from this group of people, right. But we did. Yeah. I'm saying, but the we's become the whole because all of us have the opportunity to help decide what goes on. And if we're not as engaged in the process as somebody else, at the end of the day, decisions that we don't want to see made are the decisions that will get made. Mm-hmm. But you never give up. That's right. You always maintain hope and possibility. I maintain hope and possibilities. The reason that I am an elected public person is because I decided to try and make use of my one self to generate activity on the part of others. There's a hymn that says, "Give me 10 men, give me 10 stout-hearted men who are willing to fight for the things they adore. Give me 10 men, and I'll give you 10,000 more." So if you've got 10 activists, those 10 activists can spearhead movement and activity that generate thousands of others. So if you was going to give a message to the people, what would that be?
Stay engaged, stay informed, get together in small groups and talk about the facts. Make sure you don't get too frustrated with the extremity of what's going on. Know that you can be a part of that solution, and make sure you just don't stay isolated in a bubble. Make sure you're talking to your family, people in the barbershop, the people in the restaurant, everywhere that you run into somebody, to let them know that they are still a part of the solution if they activate themselves.
Well, the Panthers had a slogan. They say you're either part of the solution or you're part of the problem.
That's right.
That if you're not moving towards a solution, then you're helping create the problem.
That's right.
And so if you're not supplying the answers, then you are creating the problem. And we know what the answers are.
That's right.
The answers are to make the best decisions that we can possibly make for the largest number of people that we can possibly impact. So do as much as you can for as long as you can for all of the people that you can, and the end will come out all right.
Yes.
And then at the end of the day, of course, we have a funeral tomorrow. One of our colleagues, Clarence Thomas, passed away, and we're going to, of course, put Clarence to rest tomorrow afternoon at, it's tomorrow morning at the New Zion Missionary Baptist Church, right down the street, right near here. Wonderful, beautiful church that Reverend Wardlow, who is actually Clarence's relative, Clarence's mother's name, her maiden name was Wardlow. And there's a large Wardlow family in the metropolitan area of Chicago that have been engaged. Some of them were outstanding athletes. Some of them, Clarence's mother, for example, was on the Board of Education when she was alive. She was vice president of the board. She was a math teacher when she worked for the Chicago public school system and a math coordinator. And then she went on the board. She was put on the board by Mayor Jane Byrne. And so the Wardlow family and the Thomas families are well known in the African American community of metropolitan Chicago. Some of them live out in the suburbs. Some live, of course, in this area. Some a little further down. So we will be at the church just kind of saying goodbye to Clarence, who spent much of his life doing politics. He loved politics. So as we close down and get down to the end, we got about 2 minutes. You want to take one, I'll take the other one.
As we said before, you want to be a part of the solution. And the solution is activate self. Don't question the fact that you can make a difference or not. Don't question your vote, because everything makes sense. It's all about addition. Activate your family. Make sure people are registered. You can start that process right now. So,
Well, all right.
yeah.
Dana Washington said, "What a difference a day make. Just 24 little hours. What a difference a day make. Rainbow in showers. My yesterday was blue, but today I'm a part of you." And so what a difference a day makes. Makes all the difference in the world.
Yes, it does.
Thank you all so much. Thank you, Mr. Burton.
Thank you.
And we
Congressman.
will see you next Friday if the good Lord bless and the river don't rise. We'll be here at 6:05.
That's all right.
Take care. Have a good weekend.